Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Mansfield Town News and Views. I'm joined with Mike, Stevange fan. Good evening to you, Mike. How are you doing?
Evening, Mike. Yeah, very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Glad we've actually got some wins under our belt. If you'd have asked me that a few weeks ago, I'd have said down in the dumps. But a couple of wins, and that's it. It's amazing what can happen.
I know that's what we need to start doing at the moment as well. And obviously, we've got an FA Cup replay next week as well. Obviously, we went to the MK Dons and got a draw in the FA Cup, and obviously you went one better and got a victory against Sunderland, and great victory that was for you as well.
Well, yeah, it's 2 years in a row we've done that now as well, so it's crazy to think, really. I mean, after the game we was chanting, "Can we play every week?" You know what I mean? So it just shows you, though, anything could happen in the Cup. I mean, you mentioned there as well against MK Dons. I mean, you must be happy with that. A draw, bring it back to Stevenage and potentially play over.
Yeah, we were 2-1 up at one stage, so when you're 2-1 up, obviously you want to see the job through and get over the line. But, we've had bigger teams than MK Dons down here this year. We've had Luton, we've knocked Luton out of the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
We gave Wickham a very good game. We took them to penalties as well, and they beat us on that day. But we've had, those kind of teams. Obviously, last season we had a good cup run as well. And we knocked out Hull, who were sort of flying high top of the league at that time.
Yeah.
And that was without the fans there. So if we can get the fans, and the stadium rocking next week, it should be a really good atmosphere and a really good cup tie.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure you'll get a lot of people at the gates as well, a bit of attention. I mean, they'll bring a lot as well, MK Dons as well. So, you've still got a chance, you know what I mean? So, who knows?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, usually I ask fans, how their seasons have been going so far. I think it's pretty obvious from both our points of view, massively underwhelming, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
So, with Alex Revel in charge, then I've seen a lot of Stevenage fans really want him out of the club, wanting a change. What's your stance on Alex Revel?
It's quite an interesting one because Alex Revel, young, inexperienced. He's got Dean Wilkins in alongside him, and then really started to pick up towards the end of last season when we went on that really good unbeaten run. And then, we're getting clean sheets left, right, and centre pretty much every week as well.
Yeah.
And then obviously this season we started off with a win over Barrow. And we were all quite happy to obviously be back in the stadium and see a win. As I mentioned, we had a couple of cup games there as well. I think it was Luton after Barrow. We knocked them out of the cup. We had a good couple of sort of week or two at the start of the season.
Yeah.
And then it all went downhill from there. So yeah, regarding Alex Revel, I like him as a guy. I'm not too sure whether he's sort of in at the deep end a little bit too soon maybe for him.
Yeah.
A little bit like possibly. If you look at the Championship, maybe Steve Morris, another old Stevenage player, in fact, who's at Cardiff. Similar kind of thing to what Cardiff are doing with him. But I think with Alex Revel, it's a sort of, it's going to take a bit of time, basically. So I don't see him getting the boot anytime soon. We got rid of Mark Sampson yesterday. He resigns, and that's quite an interesting one to change up the backroom staff without even changing the manager. So we'll have to wait and see whether that gives a little bit of a boost or a little bit of anything, because you don't know what's going on sort of in-house in the dressing room, etc. So it might change up things a little bit, but we'll wait and see what happens with that. But Alex Revel, for me, he deserves a bit of time, and I think he will get a bit of time as well because Phil's not the man to sack a manager this soon.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many games yet to play yet. I mean, we're only in the first part of the season. I mean, it's like from our point of view, we've had so many injuries and suspensions. I mean, a lot of people look at the league table and they think, why Mansfield down there? And it's, to be honest with you, there's a lot of reasons why, but I think recruitment's a massive thing. I think in the summer we missed out on so many players, and that's what's really, hampered our season so far.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, would you put it down to the same thing? Would you say the recruitment for you guys in the summer wasn't perhaps good enough for the players you brought in, or what?
I wouldn't say so. We've got a very good squad. If you look at the core of our squad, the defence is pretty much the same as last season.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper, we've got a choice of about 3 keepers at the moment. One who's on loan from West Ham, played in the FA Cup at the weekend against Milton Keynes. That's Joe and Nang.
Yeah.
And then we've got Adam Smith, who was signed the day before on the day of the Orient game, and then come on and come into that game and made a man of the match appearance for his first game. So he's a good keeper as well, but obviously he did let in 5 the week after. And then obviously we've got Sasha as well, Sasha Bastian, Gillingham, who's back with us for his second spell. But I think he's injured at the moment.
So, obviously you mentioned there a bit earlier on about Alex Revel being a young manager still. Do you think an experienced assistant manager would be really beneficial to him then?
Well, that's what we've got. We've got Dean Wilkins anyway, obviously Reid's brother. Right. So he's been there since January last year. I think he was the one of the reasons, if not the main reason, as to why we turned it around come the end of last season, when we were in a very similar position this time last year than what we are now.
Yeah. It must be a relief as well, because obviously a couple of seasons ago, obviously the relegation, and then luckily for you guys, Bury had the obviously they went to mid-term.
Macclesfield was the one that saved us. Yeah.
Yeah, so it must have been such a relief having the second chance, because teams don't get that, you know what I mean? So from a Stevenage point of view, you must be so relieved to still be in the Football League.
Absolutely. We're loving every minute of it at the moment, because, as you rightly say, we, potentially shouldn't be in the league. A lot of people look at it that way. But, to be fair, if you're doing things properly off the pitch, then you do deserve to get a bit of credit for that. And it's a shame with Macclesfield and what happened there, and hopefully they bounce back. Hopefully Bury bounce back as well. But if you're not going to be able to pay your players, then you're going to be punished, and you have to be quite severely punished, really. And I think relegation, as harsh as it was probably fair. And that's not me being biased; that's me being blunt and honest.
No, I think you're right. No, it's all about running the club. We had that a few years ago under our old chairman, and it's one of them. If you're not run well, then you've got rules, and that's it. Simple as that. I mean. So another player, obviously, we know a lot about at Mansfield, Jamie Reid. How's he got on for you guys?
I like Jamie Reid. I don't think we've seen enough of him. He was involved in the goal. I think it was the second goal against Milton Keynes. He got an assist for that one.
Yeah.
And he scored a couple of goals this season, and I do like him. When I've seen him play, he looks a threat. He looks like he's got a lot about him. He works hard, and he's partial to the goal here and there as well. And I think if you can get him working alongside Elliot Lish with that partnership, I think it's a good partnership. So yeah, I like Jamie Reid. I think he's a good signing. I want to see more of him.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, the one thing that you can't fault Jamie Reid with, and I'm sure you guys seen this as well, his work rate second to none. He chases everything down, and that's the thing you can't fault. But obviously, at this level with teams, if you're not firing on all cylinders, then you're looking for another club. So there's still potential in him. He's still young, and he's still got plenty of time to develop. So I think he has got something there. It's just perhaps just getting him playing alongside experienced players. I think that could be a key for him. I think.
Absolutely, and I think with Elliot Lish being, the informed striker at the club as well this season and last season, and I want to see him in a two. We saw him in a two a couple of times in pre-season, and I did like the look of him. And then as the season sort of come to sort of the forefront and continued on through, it hasn't really been the partnership that I want too often. So I want to see more of them.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, that's the beauty of it. I mean, there's so many games to be played yet, so you'd like to think that's going to be players going to get given chances and stuff. But yeah, just talking about players there, you mentioned Elliot List and along with some other players there. Who would you say your main threats are going into the games?
Elliot List, 100%. He knows where the back of the net is, and he's due. Well, he was due a goal before the weekend. He got a goal and an assist at the weekend, so back to his best again, hopefully. Obviously, we've got Jake Taylor and Jake Reeves in midfield, two experienced heads as well.
Yeah.
Jake Taylor obviously was captain at Exeter, and Jake Reeves was at Notts County. So they're two good players. Bruno Andrade, if he plays, he hasn't been playing too much, but he's another one to look out for, who on his day can cause a bit of problem to teams, put a bit of magic on. I think there's a few there, and it is just kind of getting the sort of side to gel, really. And anyone on their day can kind of cause an upset in this league. But any of the players that we've got on show can, there's a lot of them there with a lot of talent.
Yeah, same from our point.
Shouldn't be where we are at the bottom, towards the bottom end of the league, anyway.
Yeah, because like I say, you mentioned players there, Bruno Andrade, Elliot List. So they've got experienced players at this division, and it's crazy to think how we're both where we are, to be honest, because of the obviously the facilities we've got, the players. It's crazy to think, but then again, a couple of injuries and that's what it does. You know what I mean? It can really affect you, and I'm just hoping we can just do a Bolton and just turn it around. You know what I mean?
And that's without, I didn't mention Chris Lyons. Chris Lyons is another experienced player in midfield as well. He's at Bristol Rovers. So there's plenty of experience there. We can go with anyone in midfield. Arthur Reid was excellent at the weekend, apparently, against Milton Keynes. So if he comes back in and continues on with that form, he's been out for a long time. We've got Charlie Carter to come back. We've got, we've got a lot of talent, especially in the forward areas. But I don't know whether we're utilising it as well as we can be.
What's your home form been like this season so far?
Not great. We started off quite well, and then kind of, as I said, we kind of slipped off a little bit. We got a draw against Leyton Orient in the last home game, but then the game before that, we won a few games before that, and I think we lost to Forest Green. We got beat 4-0 by Forest Green at home, so they were sort of 3-0 up in the first half, I think it was.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like the only game we actually won away was last week, so it's like we're rubbish on the road. So Stevenage aren't great at home, we're bad away, so it just makes for a great game.
if we were away, we'd lose 4 or 5-0. I can tell you that now, because I think that our last few away games in the league, anyway. I think it was 4-0, 4-0, and 5-0, or 4-0, 4-0, 4-0, and 5-0, something like that. So we've been rubbish away without even scoring. So even to score at the weekend was a bit of a welcome relief.
So going into the game then this weekend, have you got many injuries to players, or what you're liking for your injury front?
No, I think we've got mostly, bar one or two, a fully fit squad, really. There's only, I think Charlie Carter will still be out, but we'll find out more tonight if who's sort of featuring in this game as well, whether there's anyone coming back from injuries. But I think that bar one or two, we've got most of them fit and available.
Well, at the time we're recording this video, obviously we've got the Chequer Trade game tonight. We've got Newcastle under 23s, but like we were saying just before we come on air, I don't think many people really care too much about that competition anyway. So we're not going to bother talking about that, because I think it's just one of them. It's good for players getting minutes under the belts and younger players, but other than that, I don't know. I just don't agree with the competition rules, especially with the Premiership teams.
Same. That's why I don't really bother with it.
If they're going to do it like that, just have non-league sides in it, something like that. I'm all for that, but it's just that anything to do with the Premiership. You know what I mean?
And if it's non-league sides, that'll just be like the old Lee Vans Trophy, wasn't it? Because that was conference.
Just make it competitive and that, and you get a lot of people going. You know what I mean? So. So obviously we spoke a bit earlier on about the FA Cup draw, potentially getting Yeovil away against your old boss as well. That must be a massive. So what did you think of that draw when it came out then? Was you glad that you got Yeovil, or was you really hoping for a home draw?
I wanted a home draw, but then I think Yeovil away is a good tie, actually, as well. There, sort of familiar. We know obviously Darren, we know Luke Wilkinson, we know Dale Borman who was here as well. So a couple of familiar faces, and it'll be interesting just to even see them. And I'm sure Darren loves to come and watch our games anyway, so I'm sure he'll be at the replay next week, just keeping an eye over who he gets.
I think another good thing, especially from our point of view as well, obviously we've obviously had bad starts to the season. Good cup runs can really kick your seasons, a start, to be honest with you. So, it can be a welcome distraction because there's no pressure on you to do anything and that. I mean, we've got Doncaster away. That's like our local derby, because we've got all our rivals are either relegated or a league above. So this is like our local derby, really.
Ours would have been St Albans. Imagine if we drew St Albans after they knocked out Forest Green, because that's literally just down the road, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's going to be amazing just to be doing that. But the problem is we was hoping to get them on Saturday, Doncaster, but on the same weekend, I think it's Barnsley and Huddersfield. So I don't think they're going to be able to police that. But I mean, the FA Cup is, once again, it's just what dreams are made of for your non-league teams, just beating your St Albans, and that. It's great. It's great stuff, and you're just glad when your team's not playing somebody like that, because you just don't want to be on the receiving end of that.
Oh, absolutely. And when you look at that FA Cup as well, St Albans were excellent, and I will say that the fact that they're a local side as well, managed by somebody that's somebody that I know his family and stuff as well, the Allenson family. And Johnny Goddard is another ex-Stevenage player as well. So obviously they got a winnable draw actually as well. Boreham Wood for them next. So we're certainly going to have a non-league side in round 3, which will be interesting. And then hopefully Stevenage can join them as well, beating MK Dons and Yeovil. But that'd be nice. It'd be nice to have the two Hertfordshire sides there, and then go from there.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, it's like, obviously when it comes to cups, you just you obviously you got the focus away from the league, and you always want League Two sides to do well, and your non-league sides. You know what I mean? That's the only time you really want them to do well.
Lincoln and Sutton that year when they went, was it 2017? They went to the fifth round and the quarters. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what the FA Cup is really about. Just the moments, really. And it's just you just want to see more of that, if anything.
Yeah, definitely.
So just a couple of questions before we come off. And
on,
so January coming up, I know it's a couple of months away. Do you, from a Stevenage point of view, then is there still areas that you need to improve on going forward, or is there any areas that you need to strengthen on?
It's quite interesting because I do think we'll strengthen. I'm not too sure what we'll do, but obviously we're quite good in midfield. We've got quite a lot of strength in midfield, so I don't think centre mid will be an issue. I think up front we've got 4 or 5. Centre back. So I think maybe sort of potentially a winger, but we don't really play with wingers too often, so it's a bit of a weird one.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that as well. What kind of how do you set up like? Because we set up with the diamond formation. What's your kind of formation?
So we basically set up. I think it's 4-2. Hold on, I'm trying to think what it is now. Because we've got the 2 in midfield, and then we've got 2, and then the 2 strikers. Is that right? So it's like 4-2-2-2, something like that. Does that work out? Hold on.
I'm just trying to think myself now.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So it's 4 at the back, with usually with wing backs, then 2 centre mids, 2 attacking mids, and then 2 strikers. That is right. That's yeah.
Is that the system that you played a lot of this season? Then
that's what we play every week. It's literally, it won't change from that.
See, that's what I mean. We're the same. We don't. That's the annoying thing when you don't have wingers. Just putting the balls in the box. That's the only you miss out on, to be honest, because you can get outrun on the wing. That's the only downside to it, really, playing that way. So going into this weekend's game, then I know it's a tough one, but what's your prediction going into it?
It's quite interesting because obviously we've both got a good result at the weekend. So I think that's going to hopefully make for a good game. I think there's going to be 2 sides that want to just continue on with that and use that as a bit of a stepping stone, a bit of a springboard onto better things. So I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be really close. I think there's only going to be 1 goal in it either way. So I'm going to go scrappy 1-0 home win.
Yeah, it's one of them. We've always had battles in the past. I mean, the one we had last season, with no fans in there, it was a very tight game. I mean, he just managed to get something out of that, to be honest. So I think it'll be a tight game. I don't think it will see a lot of goals. To be honest with you, I think both, like you say, both teams won't want to be losing the game, especially where we both are in the league as well. So it's one of them. It does make for an interesting game, like you say.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to it, and then obviously, go a couple of home games after that. MK Dons, Colchester. So I think we've got 4 home games in a row if you include tonight, which is nice.
Nice. So obviously, like yourself, you do interviews as well. Like, so do you interview a lot of Stevenage old players and past and present then?
Yeah, I do. So basically, this started as of last year, just through the COVID lockdown. Really, it was an idea I had back in about 2017, 2018, and through the lockdown, I just brought it forward onto a video format. And I've really enjoyed it. I've sort of up to about 94, 95 now of former players. And there's one current player, Ben Coker, that I've spoke to as well. And most of them have been former ones though. But looking forward to breaking that 100, and hopefully it won't be too long.
Yeah, good luck to you. It's always good when you interview players from the past, because you obviously certain moments and just think it's great insight, because obviously you don't always get to know everything when they're playing and that. So it's always great to have players explain what it's like from their point of view as well.
Definitely, yeah, and it's all across different years as well. Even before I started going, and from the first games against Newcastle to the promotion winning side from the Conference and League Two up to League One. Some of the players that played in League One, things like that, the League One playoffs as well. And then, Mark Roberts, who was caretaker manager as well as captain for a little while. So across loads of different sort of eras, really, games against Birmingham in the FA Cup, when we won the league, and obviously we weren't allowed up. Teams from players from that sort of team as well. So across loads of different eras, really, and it's good fun. I enjoy it a lot, and hard work getting all the prep done, but it's worth it.
Yeah, same here. I've had a few players on myself, like in the past, and that, and it's like you say, as you probably know this yourself, like trying to wait to hear back from them, getting everything sorted and stuff. It's like people just think it's easy just asking them, but it's all the preparation that goes into
That's
it.
right. Yeah.
But like you say, it's worthwhile though to do that though, because especially when you've seen players yourself, in the flesh, and then you're interviewing them, it's like, oh, you know what I mean? You're in awe.
Well, it's quite funny because back in September we had a game for Martin Gittins, who's our club record goal scorer, because he's suffering at the moment. He's suffering with COVID, and he's also got another underlying issue as well. So we're not too sure how long he's actually going to live on for and things like that now. But there were certain players playing that day, or quite a few players playing that day that I'd actually spoke to. So I was there with my family, and I'm like, "Yep, interview that centre back, interview that centre back, interview that striker." Like,
yeah, it's great, mate. It really is.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, anyway, mate, thanks for coming on again, Mike, talking things about Stevenage and that, and just giving us a insight into this weekend. But yeah, like I say, I think it's fair to say both sides are due for some good results. I think we're in the same boat in that respect.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, bar Saturday, I wish you the very best of luck for the rest of the season.
Yeah, you too, mate. Are you coming to the game as well?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I'm hoping to be. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So very best of luck to you, mate, and I'll speak to you soon, mate.
Best of luck. I'll probably see you there.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Take care.
Take care, mate. Bye.
Right.